All right, well, hello, and thank you for checking out another episode of the 15-Minute BJ podcast. I'm BJ, and again, I am joined by my friend Brian Hamby.
Hello, everybody.
Today, we are going to go on the lighter side of things. Last week, we did the topic distractions, what gets in our way and what keeps us from doing the things we want to do. But today, we're going to go on the opposite side of that fence. We're going in the sunshine, and we're going to talk about the things that inspire us or motivate us to continue on through daily life, because every day can be a struggle, a battlefield, but how you traverse that day is really what affects the outcome. So before we begin, I just want to say thanks to those of you guys that shouted us out on our on my Instagram account. I put out the opportunity to ask us any questions, and a couple of you guys did, so we're going to address those also, but we'll get those at the end of this episode. So thank you guys for checking out. Strap on your listening boots, and let's get it in. So motivation, to me, what that means is the driving force behind whatever it is you're doing, whether it's working or just being a human being or, just reaching that next step somewhere, existing. Yeah. So motivation to me can come in many forms. And inspiration, I feel, kind of people get them confused or not confused, but they meld them together, where I think inspiration is kind of something that hits you along the way and
they
makes
are
you do
different,
something.
but they do have similarities, very much so. I think that's, I was just thinking about that today, honestly, thinking about, okay, well, we're going to talk about inspiration, and there are things that inspire me, but I find myself every time I try and think about my inspirations, I end up thinking about what actually motivates me more than my inspirations.
Right, yeah, because sometimes what I think is like the inspiration is kind of something that you do or don't consciously know affects the way you do something, but the motivation is the why you do something,
Yeah.
So, and it's not always like one specific thing that motivates people. I know for myself, like in the grand scheme of things, I think I'm motivated to do well for myself so I can do better for the people around me. Like I really want to help people, and I want to like help the people that I love first, foremost. I want to like provide a great life for me and Fernanda, my wife, and maybe even have a kid sometime and start a family. But it all comes down to the motivation. I'm not at that point yet, but it's what drives me there.
Yeah, definitely. I think with me, I don't know, just being able to get up and like put a smile on someone's face has always been kind of a motivation for me. I'm a pretty laid back, fun loving guy, so that's all I ever care about is when people are happy.
Yeah, just making people happy.
Pretty much.
I get that about you. I see that all the time. But yeah, it's kind of like how the reason, like, outside of the grand scheme of life motivation, like for my music, I'm not really motivated to be the best at anything. Like I never tell people, I'm the greatest of like guitar playing or singing or songwriting, but for me, my motivation is just to come across as a real person and tag when people like respond, I guess, like when somebody listens or when somebody claps or whatever, it's just, that's the motivation.
Yeah. I think that also is my inspiration for becoming it's a little bit of both for me as a bass player, as a musician in general. Like I'm inspired to do better by the motivation I get from people, coming up to you and saying, oh, you're talented, or I love your style. Okay, well, I'm going to keep working on whatever it is that you like, and I'm going to get better, and it inspires me and motivates me too.
Yeah, whether or not people think that it's like a huge ego that drives musicians because they're just looking for that glory. I mean, I don't see it as an ego to myself. I see it, like you said, as a motivation. When somebody compliments you or says, you did well tonight, like you just, you want to keep that coming because you've seen the other side. I know I have.
Oh, yeah.
Where somebody
definitely
goes, ooh, that wasn't so good.
Yeah, nice bum notes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh yeah, you broke a string, huh? Just stupid shit like that. It's motivation to never hear those again, I think.
That's true.
Because I could be inspired by so many different things. It's not even like a question of what's your favorite band or this or that. Like I'm inspired by life. I'm inspired by all the things that come around me. That's what makes me write songs, and that's what makes me get out of bed and do, podcasts, and just I want to inspire other people too. But I feel like the motivation part is really just kind of, that's where the selfishness comes in, where you're like, man, I really like it when people recognize like I'm doing this to entertain, and when they are entertained, it's just the most fulfilled feeling, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I when I wake up in the morning, I try and keep the routine because I'm inspired to just get up and do something different, or make a difference in the smallest way of life in general. Whether it's picking up a piece of trash or I don't know. I'm just inspired every day, motivated.
Don't talk about your exes like that.
Hey, they're not all trash.
And you can't pick them all up either.
It's a motivation to just be a happier person. I'm inspired to be a happier person. I spent a lot of time, as we all do, feeling down.
Yeah.
And I think it's just keeping that chin up. It's not motivation for me. It's inspiration. I see a lot of people who go through harder crap in life and come out on top. And yeah, it could be motivated, but it's just inspiration. It's inspiring, and that's what motivates me, is the inspiration.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Like you see those like videos on YouTube of like dudes with no arms and no legs still lifting like 1,000,000 pounds above their head and doing all these things, and like you're like, man, I got everything at my disposal. Maybe like I'm not where I want to be, but like I haven't really truly lost anything that big yet. And for some people they do, some people they don't. Some people that moment never comes, but all of us face some type of adversity that you have to overcome. But the inspiration comes from seeing somebody that's like way got it harder than you do, and they're still just trucking along. It's like, well, then I can do it too. I could do that.
I have no excuses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's inspiring to see people, struggle, but overcoming it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to see people struggle, though. That's
no. You don't want to see the struggle. You just want to see the happy ending. Or everybody likes that.
Everybody likes the happy ending. That's true. Speaking of happy endings, we are getting pretty close here. I don't know what time it is. I think it's we're keeping it pretty short. Last time we went over the 15 minutes, so we're trying to keep it to 15-minute BJs. But we want to get to these questions, the questions that were asked to us on my Instagram account, and you guys can always do this. I try to tell you when we're posting up another episode, except for I did this a couple days ago, and then life happened. I guess that would be a distraction, and I forgot I was working that day. Whoops. And had to go into work before we got to record. So now we are recording a little bit late, but we still got these questions. So if you guys ever have a question or anything you want to say, even if it's a sarcastic bullshit question, we will answer them.
We will answer them, and we will answer them colorfully.
Absolutely. So that being said, we've got our first two questions. So thank you to Pat Hilton and Daniel Acevedo. Those are both a couple friends of mine and friends of this podcast. Daniel also has his own podcast. You need to check that out, called Daniel Doesn't. You can hear it on SoundCloud, and I think he also has it on iTunes. I'm just not that fancy. I don't have it on iTunes. I've got it on SoundCloud. So first off, we got Pat Hilton. He asks, talk about what it takes to give an actual 15-minute BJ. And you know what? I think this is Brian's expertise. So go ahead.
Well, considering I've never actually given a 15-minute BJ, I don't know if it's my expertise, but I would imagine it takes a lot of stamina and lack of gag reflex,
Yeah. Determination. I think determination is key. And love. You got to love and respect somebody if you're going to be down that long.
You'd imagine that, but I think it's just being a trooper.
Or, for the love of money. Yeah. All right. So, unless you're talking about what it means to do the podcast, what it takes is 2 microphones, a really shitty computer, and a guitar.
Yeah.
And some ideas. And people like you asking questions. So thank you, Pat, for that question. The next question is from Daniel. He asks, are you afraid of death? And I'll take this one first. I'll let you think about it, because I don't know if that's something you think about every day, but I kind of do. I don't know that I'm afraid of death, but I'm very curious about it. And I'm not saying like, I want to die, or like, I'm excited to die, but at the same time, I know it's going to happen. It happens to everybody. The how and the where and the when, that's what, everybody's scared about. But to me, I'm more curious about what's on that other side. I don't want to leave anybody over here, and that's what I think would make me like the most sad. Like if I died and like got to watch everybody be sad, like that'd be terrible.
Oh yeah, of course.
But if there's something great on the other side, why are we all afraid?
I think for me, I take it as I'm not afraid of death, but I am afraid of dying. Do you kind of correlate? Like, it's like I'm not afraid of reptiles, but I don't exactly want to run into a fucking alligator in my driveway. You know what I mean? Like, it's if for some reason I'm in a car wreck and I die instantly, death comes, I'm ready. But I don't want to suffer.
That sounds like a Metallica song. Death comes, I'm ready. Yeah, no, exactly.
You know, like I don't want to have to spend my last days on Earth
miserable.
Yeah, horrible. I spent enough time in life miserable, horrible. Like I don't want the end to be that way. I mean, I've seen people, die
Not
over
fun.
time, and it's not easy to watch. And when people go suddenly, it is a surprise. But I think people are more apt to just kind of, it sinks in, in their own time.
Yeah.
If you're sitting in a hospital bed, there's somebody sitting there like waiting in their, if in their thoughts, waiting for you every day to just leave, and it gets worse and worse. To me, it builds up more. As far as what's on the other,
that's what I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of being dead. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid
as far as what's on the other side, if there's another side, and in my beliefs, our spirits are just a lot of energy and they're left over. So people think they're ghosts, and it's maybe so. I'm definitely not a ghost
There's
hunter.
only one way to find out.
Yeah, but hey, if I die and I'm left behind because I didn't complete something in life, I will fuck with everybody.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna make being a ghost the biggest prank ever.
Absolutely. I'm a dick in real life, so imagine me as a ghost. You guys would never sleep. Well, all right, cool. So that answers that. I mean, I guess we're not afraid of death, but we are afraid of dying.
Of dying, yes, definitely.
So that's an easily agree from the both of us. I don't know. That's a pretty good question. So thank you, Daniel.
Bring us more. We need them.
Yeah, we're going to take a few more questions every time. So if you guys have them, just send them on in. You can slip them into my DMs. Facebook or Instagram. Just find me, BJ Jezbera. You could even find Mr. Brian Hamby. He's on Facebook and Instagram. Brian Hamby on Facebook, right? And Irish Dummy 666 on Instagram. Right. So check him out too. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you for checking out the 15-Minute BJ.
Adios.
Holy shit, I just noticed this is the first episode where we didn't play one single note of music, but it was still pretty interesting. So, but next time, way more music. We'll see you next time. Thank you.